Because the squad update, how are things shaping up?
Yeah, sort of. So after last week, Rio has kind of been in rehab all week. He picked up a couple of knocks, felt a bit of a muscle strain, so he's been in rehab all week. Actually, had a bit of a run today, but tomorrow he'll miss out. And then everyone else okay, yeah, after last week.
Is Carl back in your squad yet?
He's training, yeah. He's training. He's available. You know, he's obviously, we just got to pick our moment to throw him back in there. Obviously, you know, he hasn't played any competitive football yet, so but he's trained. What's first full week of sort of training and available. So yeah, I'll just make a decision about whether we bring him back tomorrow or you know, next week.
Quick question on James McCarthy. There was a report this week saying that some clubs down south could be interested in him. I just wonder if a move away in this window may be a possibility.
Not on my radar, mate. You know, we're kind of dealing with what's in front of me. And what's in front of me, Macca's still training with us. He's part of the squad. Yeah, in terms of what's happening beyond that, not on my radar.
And obviously, after last week's win, you said that, you know, you want the players to be more clinical. Does that just show the high expectations that will continue right through this season? Yes, you got the win, but you always want that bit more.
Oh, it depends. It depends, you know, on sort of the performance. You know, as I said after the game, I thought it was, you know, it was a comfortable game for us, but I just felt we could have been more dominant during certain parts of it, particularly just before half time. But you know, I said after the game, the players addressed that, and I thought our second half was a good response to sort of a 15-minute patch where I felt we just weren't as dominant as we want to be as a team. But you know, that doesn't mean that that's going to happen every week. It's just my role is to make sure that, you know, I give the players, you know, feedback that's constructive and is going to help us move forward. And you know, that was my feelings after the game.
Ross County made it difficult for you up in Dingwall last season, particularly that game in December with the last-minute goal. What do you expect from Ross County this season? Yeah,
it'll be a good challenge. We went up there a couple of times last year, and yeah, it's always a tough game. I mean, the thing is, you know, well, you know, obviously that's my first experience sort of coaching against Melky as well, but he sets his teams up to be aggressive, you know, and you know you're going to get an aggressive game, which I think is always a good challenge, home or away. You know, they started the season, I thought, strongly last week. I thought they were in the first half. They were, you know, they were good value for getting a couple of goals. Didn't end up that way, but they look like they've picked up where they left off last year. You know, even though they've had a bit of a change in personnel, but in terms of their intent, it's from what I saw last week against Hearts, it's the same. You know, they're going to be aggressive with and without the ball, and you know, that sets us up for a good challenge. But you know, from our perspective, nothing really changes. You know, we've just got to make sure we bring our best game and play our football, and when we do that, we know we're hard to stop.
Yeah, just going on from that point about Ross County, you know, that they have had a lot of changes to their personnel in and out, and they've had a good start to the season, the League Cup, and as you say, they played really well in the first half against Hearts despite losing last weekend. And I'm just wondering, though, whether you see any difference in their approach or their style, or any particular anything particular about the players that have come in that will make a difference to them this season?
No, I don't think so. Like I said, I think the intent's there. I think it was pretty evident what, you know, Melky was trying to do last year with his team, and you know, to be fair, it was difficult. They had a difficult start last year, a bit like us. You know, he was kind of, you know, building a brand new side, and they got off to a really slow start, but their second half of the year was really strong, and I think they've just sort of gone on from that. You know, they've had 12 months together sort of playing the football he wants them to play, and I just assume it's going to be an evolution of that. And yeah, like I said, from what I saw, you know, last week and in the cup games, you know, similar sort of setup, similar sort of aggression, and you know, stuff that we have to counter.
And Leo Abada was quoted as saying that he's missing what he described as his big brother near Beaton being around in the squad, and I'm just wondering if that's something that as a manager you've got to be aware of. That certain, especially young players, look up to certain players, and when they leave, there's maybe not that sort of like player level father figure around to help them.
Yeah, to a certain extent. I mean, I think I think Liel's just sort of been honest about his feelings, but I don't think Liel needs any protection from anyone. He doesn't need a big brother. He's a big boy himself. He was wearing big boy pants last year when he was knocking goals in and assisting other people. So he's a big boy. But I mean, he's obviously he was very close, and Nero was fantastic, particularly in the early settling in period for him. But Liel's a man himself, and he knows what he wants to achieve in this game. And from our perspective, it's more about a sort of we try and create a club environment of support for all our players. Whether they're foreigners coming in, or irrespective of age, or whether they're just from down the road here, when they come to the club, it's important we have a supportive network for all of them in whatever they need, whatever sort of areas they may need help. But as far as Liel goes, he's going well, and we want to keep pushing him, and he wants to get to another level, and I think we can get him there.
Hi, Ange. Obviously, at the start of last season and for the majority of the campaign, you were playing 2 games a week. Just wondering how you find it at the early stages of just playing one match every 7 days. Is it harder to maybe build momentum, get into the rhythm, or is it easier for you to prefer as a coach more time on the training field, more time to recover?
It's different. It's not hard or easy. It's just different. So you take a different approach. But from our perspective, it just means an adjustment to the way we train. So training's been really good this week. Really competitive. Obviously, we've got a really strong squad this year. I think we're stronger than we were from a squad perspective on the back of last year, which means training is super competitive, and now that the games have started, everyone wants to play. So everything we do is really at a high tempo and ultra competitive. And as I said, so that's the only difference. We can just get more work done during the week and prepare them for the weekend games. And we can use this period over the next sort of 3 weeks to make sure the players are ready for what's ahead, because once the game starts, as you said, we won't have a lot of time for training, so we're using this time to get the players ready for that.
Yeah, just talking about that strong squad that you said there. Obviously, David Turnbull is part of that squad. He was on the bench at the weekend. Could we see him come in from the start with Rayo injured? And also, we've just spoken to him. He said he's hoping for around 10 league goals this season. Is that a good target? Would you like him to hit more? Do you think that's achievable?
You asked him those questions, didn't you? I don't know why I have to answer for him. I've got no view on that. Bulls had a good pre-season, strong pre-season. He's made an impact. Whether he started games or I thought last week when he came on, he was fantastic for us, and expecting a big year from him. I mean, he was on set for a big year last year, and unfortunately, it was injury that stopped him more than anything else. But he's going really well, and I know he's we're getting pretty strong in that midfield area, which we need to be, because that takes more of a physical toll. I mean, part of the issue last year with David was that we overburdened him in the first half of the year, and he paid the price with an injury. So hopefully this year, with the strength that we have in midfield, we don't have to sort of overburden players like him, and keep them sort of fresh and be able to make the most impact they can. So he's in a good space, and I'm sure he'll have a really positive year.
Hi, Ange. In terms of your squad, you said it's stronger. Are you looking to add to it still?
Yeah, I think I've said that we're kind of, while the window's open, we're still active. Nothing definite, but while the window's open, we're expecting that if the opportunity arises for the right kind of player, that we could move for it. But it also means that there could be some people outgoing as well. So we've just got to stay alert and active. But between now and the end of the window, I've already said that if the right opportunity comes along in the areas that I feel we need, we'll take it.
Are you close to either incomings or outgoings at the moment?
No, like I said, nothing really definite at the moment. No.
In terms of the game in the weekend, I guess one of the great extremes is Celtic Park, 60,000 1 week to Ross County Stadium. Is that all about adaptability of your team and professionalism of the team?
Well, every game, and every situation has its own challenge, and I'd hate to dismiss this as a difficult fixture just because of the venue. I think it's a difficult fixture because of the opposition you face as well. Like I said, Ross County are a good side. They make it hard for oppositions, whoever goes there. So, but I can tell you when Anthony Ralston snuck one in the last minute, it felt like Celtic Park in those moments. So the atmosphere still pretty decent. So like I said, for us, we just got to focus on playing our football, irrespective of whatever challenge it is. What we showed last year and so far this year is that irrespective of what's we've been put before us, if we can play our football, sort of stick to the task, be disciplined, like I said, we're hard to stop.
Did that goal typify the team spirit you were trying to ferment at Celtic?
I think it was definitely in terms of the resilience I kept talking about during the year, because we were on fumes at the time. We had quite a few players out. We were kind of, playing games with not a lot of depth in numbers in terms of the squad, and a difficult place to go to. Ross County playing, like I said, aggressive football. We were down to 10 men. I mean, that's where you build sort of resilience. That there's probably half a dozen excuses we could have used that day to not win that game. We chose an alternative path, and I thought that held us in good stead for the rest of the season.
Hi, Ange. During the game last week, we seen Hatate, Kyogo and Maida go off in a triple sub, and we brought on Giacomakis, Turnbull and Abada. It's quite a contrast from last season where we weren't really able to look to the bench. How important will that be as the season goes on, especially for chasing a game, to bring on so much quality? Yeah,
look, I think, as I've already said, my thinking anyway around our recruiting for this year and our business in the transfer market was to make us stronger as a collective rather than just bringing in players, quality players. It was about how can we be stronger as a collective so that on a week-to-week basis we're not overburdening individual players, but also, during the course of a game that, again, we can change the course, the kind of flow of how it's going by bringing on players who we know can make an impact. So that could be whether you're, ahead in the game, or you're chasing a game, or you want to control the game. And it just may be, just to bring on and maintain the tempo. It's no secret we want to play at a high tempo, we want to play at a high intensity. A good way to do that is that when you're putting players on, that they're maintaining it. Whereas obviously if you didn't make the substitutions, there's a natural attrition there with players getting tired and the tempo dropping. We don't want that to happen. So it's something we kind of focus on a lot. There's some markers we look at during a game, and one of them is our intensity and tempo and sort of how quickly and we're moving the game, and being able to make good, strong substitutions helps that.
Also, I interviewed your former teammate from South Melbourne, Danny Craney, last night, and he spoke about...
Danny Craney, what a player he was. Yeah, Danny's a good man. Nice little left foot, hell of a player. Used to moan a bit, I'll tell you.
He was talking about you playing at kind of left back, and I thought Greg Taylor had a brilliant game last week. I just thought how your kind of experience in that position, has it helped Greg, do you think, or helped you improve left backs?
Yeah, no, I wasn't an inverter, mate. I was a frustrated left back. Danny will tell you, he used to just take off down the wing and leave my defensive duties. But no, I don't. I don't think. The fact that I played a certain position sort of helps individual players. We try and, from my perspective, especially with the fullback positions, they're obviously quite unique in the way we play compared to sort of most other models. It's just providing all our sort of players who play in those areas, some clarity as to why we want them to do what we want them to do, and then offering them the tools to do that. And I think all the fullbacks, Greg and Josip and Anthony, and obviously, with Berner, he's just come in, and even him, he's adapting to it really quickly, and I think that's because, we try and be really clear about why we want them to do it. There's a reason, that we get our fullbacks to play that way, and then I think, the good thing is the boys have really embraced it, and understood it, and want to see how they can develop it. So, it's nothing specific from me, mate. I was nowhere near the levels of our current fullbacks. I'll leave it at that.
Hi, Ange. You mentioned there that obviously you've got a decision to make on Carol Starfelt, whether he comes back in, but Stephen Welsh is in there at the moment. Is the shirt his to lose?
Yeah, I don't look at it that way. I know people like to look at it that way. I understand why, and this whole notion of first 11s and second 11s and who's starting and who's not. But, all along I've kind of, my thinking around all these things is that I select a team for a game, and that's it really. And I selected 11. I think, this is going to give us a decent chance of getting on top of the opposition. And during that game, I'm thinking, well, I've got players who can also change that outcome as well. And then once the game's over for me. Then I'm looking to the next game, and a whole range of things come into, whether a player restarts, and that is, yes, his performances, how he's training, how he's feeling, how other guys in his position are going, all those kind of things come into it. So it's, the shirt is there for all of them, whether they're starting or not. It's happened to me a few times in my career where, my team started and we get an injury in the first minute and the guy comes on, plays 92 minutes of football. Does that mean he's not a starter just because he wasn't on the pitch at the beginning of a game? So, whether it's, Welshie or anyone else in this team, they know we're going to play 50-something games this year, and if I can get 30 or 40 really top quality games out of the majority of them, then, it gives us a good chance of success.
There was reports a few weeks ago that the club had rejected an offer for Stephen. Do you expect him to go on and prove why the club want him to stay this season and beyond?
Yeah, again, I'd hate to think that that's what's needed to motivate any player. I think the only motivation players need is to as I consistently go on about, is just to be the best they can be. All these other things kind of take care of themselves. If you need different types of motivations other than just being the best footballer you can be at this football club on a daily basis, then I don't think you'll achieve what you want to. You can't pick your motivations. You can't pick, why you want to do well. You just got to want to do well. That's it, and all these other things that potentially you may want to explore later on in your career or, in the short term, they'll all come to you. But, for me, like I say, it's what I see on a daily basis that matters more than anything else, how they're training, their attitude, and how that transfers into their performances.
This week, the Celtic family lost another club legend in John Hughes, the Lisbon Lion. Big Yogi scored 189 goals for Celtic, helped us reach 2 European Cup finals. I was wondering if you ever had a chance to meet him, and what are your thoughts on his contribution to Celtic over the years? Yeah,
I don't think I did bump into John, but enormous legacy. Again, one of the icons of this football club, one of the legends, and what a player. You kind of revisit this stuff, and you look at the vision of him, and for such a big guy, what a player. You talk about size and strength, but also the ability to score goals. And I love this football club, and one of our greats. And I've often said, for all of us, that you represent this club, and you want to achieve things and you want to be successful, but ultimately for all of us, we just want to be remembered, for our time, and he's right up there. He's one of the ones that will always be remembered, and a fantastic legacy for obviously himself, but also his family and those who are closest to him. One of our greats, and sadly will be missed.
I know you've said previously you watch a lot of football on television. The women's Euros have been on all summer. And last season, Fran Alonso won 2 cups for Celtic. The Scottish Cup final was an amazing game. Their season starts at the weekend too. And what are your thoughts on Fran as a coach, and how important is it for Celtic to develop the women's team?
Yeah, look, it's they're part of our football club, and I think everyone's kind of realising that that there isn't any need for separation there. They're part of our family, and Fran's. He did an unbelievable job last year. He's got so much enthusiasm, so much passion. Every time you talk to him, you just know that he's just so driven to create the best possible program and the best possible environment for the girls to be successful. And it's a credit to him and everyone involved, and the girls themselves for what they achieved last year. And there's no doubt that women's football is growing, and it's not just the popularity, but now it's more about the opportunity now that young girls have to play this wonderful game. And that's the role of the game now, to make sure that those opportunities continue to grow, and it gives every little girl, just like every little boy who dreams of one day wearing the hoops, we give them that opportunity.